now we're up to Brother Kane. And I know that that band started as Child, right?
That's right. Child.
With a Y.
Yeah, Child with a Y. The Delta Rebels thing ran out of gas. And so I came back to Birmingham, and like I said, I had a really good manager, my buddy Conrad Rayfield, and he was super supportive. He's like, well, look, let's find you a singer, and let's write some songs and we'll demo them up. We'll see what we can get going. And so I started working with a guy that I liked a lot. And we started out very kind of British metal, because the singer was very kind of, he could hit those high notes like Rob Halford.
Right.
He had that aggressiveness, sort of an Ian Gillan, a little bit of Axl Rose in there. There was some of that. And of course, I was way into all those bands, but I had a bunch of guitar riffs and chord progressions and things came together pretty quickly. We had some songs that I thought were pretty good, and I put a rhythm section together. We came up with that name. We started shopping, and with Conrad's help, and pretty quickly we started getting feedback, and it was pretty consistent, Terry. People were either they weren't sure about the singer, or they didn't like the singer at all. They didn't like his voice. Some pretty good comments about some of the songs, and they would always say nice things about my guitar playing and whatever, but it was really Virgin Records, literally the last label we showcased for. They came, and Aaron Jacobus came to Alabama from Los Angeles and saw us play because he really liked the tape, liked the songs. And he got so excited about the band, he just said, listen, I'm going to sign Damon to a development deal, and I'm going to help him find a singer.
Wow.
And so that's what ultimately led to Brother Kane. We had a couple other guys that I worked with. The thing for me, man, is I just want to hang out with people that are cool and that are fun and that want to make it happen.
Yeah.
And there was no shortage of those people, man, in 1990, 91. Rock was alive and well. The Black Crowes had just dropped their first record, and that had everybody excited right after Guns N' Roses, who we all love. So there was just good energy, man. And there was a fateful night in Birmingham. The record company had come to town to kind of check our progress, and it's one of those 3 sets a night.
Yeah.
Playing all night. So to give the singer a break, I would sing some cover songs. So Aaron was there, Aaron Jacobus, and he heard me sing those songs, and he pulled me off to the side, and he's like, hey man, I didn't know you could sing. And I've told the story before, man. I was like, no way, bro. I'm not going to be the singer. And he said, listen, we've been working on this for 6 months. We've spent a sizable amount of money. We're running out of time. Let's go in tomorrow. Let's get you behind the microphone, and let's just see what it sounds like. And all credit to my bass player, Glenn Maxey. Glenn was the only person in Child that also made the transition into Brother Kane. And Glenn famously, pulled me up, kind of pushed me against the wall. He goes, listen, you have to do this, man. I think he had more confidence in me than I had in myself at that time. And so that was a really important moment, to have a guy that had been riding shotgun with me to say, yeah, man, you can do this. Let's go. So, and things move pretty quick, as you know. We put out that debut record in 93, and quickly, man, we had some noise happening at radio, and we were starting to open some big tours, and it was a life-changing experience.
Well, it was for me too. As a guitarist, I was kind of getting sick of the way music was heading. There were still some good bands, but I didn't like where it was going, and I was getting kind of frustrated. And then when I heard Got No Shame on the radio, I was like, I just totally perked up. You had to pull a car over and listen to it. Is that good? And well, actually, this was my next question, but you covered. I was going to say you're such a great vocalist. It blows my mind that you weren't originally the singer, but you wanted to be the guitar player.
Yeah, totally, man. I totally wanted to be Gary Rosington, or I wanted to be Scott Gorham or Jimmy Page or Joe Perry. It's like, or Slash, man. Come on. It's like,
Yeah.
God, I remember we used to just watch that video to Paradise City
Oh, yeah.
on repeat.
So did we.
And man, when you're a naive musician, I mean, maybe naive is the wrong word, but I knew that my playing had developed to the point that I could do this. Like, man, I can do this for a living. All I need is to find a singer like that Axl Rose guy, because he was a badass. And then he's flanked by three of the coolest looking guys we've ever laid eyes on, man. And they didn't look like they bought, everyone was different. There was each guy had a unique thing. They were almost like Kiss in that way.
Yeah.
Slash and Duff and Izzy and Axl, and of course, Steven Adler on the drums. But yeah, man, that was all of that energy was informing what was up. So I knew I was not an Axl Rose. I didn't have the swagger and the panache of somebody like Chris Robinson, man, who I was a huge fan of the Black Crowes. But I knew I could walk on stage with anybody and hold my own with my guitar playing.
Sure.
And here's that term again, T, my work ethic. I knew I would outwork anybody. I don't care who they are or where they're from. Nobody's going to work harder than me. So that was kind of what gave me that gumption. So I appreciate what you said about Got No Shame. We definitely moved the needle at that moment. And we didn't expect that. It's not like we thought, oh, well, this is a home run. Everything's going to start happening for us. We didn't believe that at all. We just got in the van and hit the road and started playing wherever we could play. So, those were big moments, man. You find out your song's been added to the Riff in Detroit or the Eagle in Dallas. And, oh, we got some Leonard Skinner dates. Robert Plant is going to take us out, in the fall. And then, the big kahuna, man, we went out with Aerosmith early 94. And I wish I'd have taken more pictures, man, because it all went by really fast.
Well, you mentioned the Riff. I grew up in Metro Detroit. So yeah, I listened to the Riff, that and WLLZ. I listened to those two constantly.
Wheels, baby. Wheels and the Riff. Those were two early and huge supporters of Brother Kane. Really, really, they had a lot to do with our success nationwide, really, T, because as you know, those were taste maker stations. If the Riff in Detroit was going to add your song, then there were 30 other stations just in the Midwest alone that were going to add it. So it's maybe it's no coincidence that I wound up marrying a Detroit girl. Yeah. And we met at a Brother Kane gig, not ironically. So but yeah, man, Brother Kane just opened every possible door for anything that I was committed to doing as an artist or as a professional musician. Songwriting, performing, networking. It really gave me my start, man. And there's certainly some things that we all would have done differently if we would have that chance. But we also recognize too, man, that we were one of the lucky few bands that really, we made an impact there for a minute. Sure. And me and the guys, man, we'll always be proud of that.
Now that record had a big impact, but I really think that, Seeds of Wishful, especially Wishful, that may not be as bombastic, if you will, or, pardon me for saying, I think it's a better overall record.
Oh, 100%. You'll get no argument from me about that. And you'll get no argument from the other guys in Brother Kane about that. Wishpool was a complete body of work. It was more like a piece of art.
Yeah.
There are great songs on those first two records. Great song.
You nailed
Great
it.
song.
Yeah, you nailed it.
And, both those records are full of great songs, and they have a vibe, and they work together a certain way. And, they're very reflective of the year in which they came out. But Wishpool was, I'll never say it was a concept record, because it wasn't, but there was a congruency of the lyrical content of all 12 songs on that record.
Yeah.
And, all of us in the band were going through a lot of challenges. I was going through challenges in my marriage, in my personal life. And I never sat down and says, well, hey, I'm going to write about all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was never that, man. I was just writing songs. We had to make another record. And I guess, when you got the guitar in your hand, I wrote a lot of those songs with my friend, Marty Fredrickson. It's just where my head was at. So when he's like, well, what do you want to sing about? Well, I was all consumed with these challenges in my personal life. So it was inevitable that stuff was gonna come out. And man, a couple times a year to this day, I'll put on Wishpool, put on my headphones, and just listen in sequence, top to bottom. And it's always such a powerful listening experience. Of course, it's a shame that the record didn't do more or reach more people, but it might be, it might be one of those, certainly a desert island disc of my contributions as a writer and a storyteller.
Yeah.
Kelly Gray did an incredible job producing the band on that record. In every way, especially with my vocals. He absolutely got the best vocal performances, certainly that I'd done up to that point, without a doubt. So, good stuff, man. Seeds, Wishpool, a lot of great songs throughout those three records. And, it's so fun now to run into not just fans, but friends that we've met in other bands over the years. And, they're just like, hey man, wow, that Seeds record was so awesome. And I love Bread Maker, or I love, Horses and Needles, or whatever, man. It's just such a great achievement that I don't think any of us will ever take for granted. I certainly won't. Especially now, knowing, again, man, how low on the totem pole rock music is.
Oh yeah.
We had a great run, and I keep in touch with all those guys, and it's fun to, as I do my solo stuff, I still play those songs. Man,
Sure.
I play lots of them, and so it's equally gratifying to get a reaction from the fans or to talk to them after the show. And there's a lot of love for Brother K, for sure.